on the issue of critical race theory, et cetera, I'll obviously have to get much smarter on whatever the theory is. But I do think it's important, actually, for those of us in uniform to be open-minded and be widely read. And the United States Military Academy is a university. And it is important that we train and we understand. And I want to understand white rage, and I'm white, and I want to understand it. So what is it that caused thousands of people to assault this building and try to overturn the Constitution of the United States of America? What caused that? I want to find that out. I want to maintain an open mind here, and I do want to analyze it. It's important that we understand that because our soldiers, sailors, airmen, Marines, and Guardians, they come from the American people. So it is important that the leaders, now and in the future, do understand it. I've read Mao Zedong. I've read Karl Marx. I've read Lenin. That doesn't make me a communist. So what is wrong with understanding, having some situational understanding about the country for which we are here to defend? And I personally find it offensive that we are accusing the United States military, our general officers, our commissioned, non-commissioned officers of being, quote, woke or something else because we're studying some theories that are out there. That was started at Harvard Law School years ago, and it proposed that there were laws in the United States, antebellum laws prior to the Civil War that led to a power differential with African Americans that were 3/4 of a human being when this country was formed. And then we had a Civil War and Emancipation Proclamation to change it. And we brought it up to the Civil Rights Act in 1964. It took another 100 years to change that. So look it, I do want to know. And I respect your service, and you and I are both Green Berets, but I want to know.
We're gonna get to all the content of that, Dan. My favorite moment, I think, is gonna be a lot of people's favorite moments. Do you know what that is?
Matt Gaetz's crud-eating grin in the middle of that.
It's him being, and I'll put it this way, him being a poop bird, I'll say, on camera. His dude, like you should be enjoying these days. You're going to jail, man. You're still in public. Why are you so angry all the time? This is freedom. Enjoy it while you got it. That said, Dan, there was also some substance to what Mark Milley said. And by the way, I like almost all of what Mark Milley said. I think it was good. That said, he's a general in our military. I'm not doing this video because I'm like, he's the best. 10 out of 10, no war crimes. I don't know, but I like this clip at least. So Dan, what were your thoughts?
Yeah, caveat aside, this is not going to be some sort of like whitewashing, no pun intended, of the US war machine here, trying to put some like plays of intersectionality while it battles for relevance on the world stage, all right? But that being said, we have come from an administration and a lot of previous sort of times where, and a lot of previous instances where it has been pretty clear that the armed forces have at least some racial issues. I mean, there was I think, Latina woman in Texas last year who was like killed at a military station, like base in Texas, and no one really kind of talked about that case, but it was one of many sort of undercovered cases of people of color being really abused within the armed forces. And so when it's getting mixed with all of the cancel culture, like critical race theory stuff, that is the only thing the right wing really has the ability to talk about at this point, because Joe Biden has gotten rid of a lot of the major scandals. All they can talk about is Hunter Biden and his chocolates, or cancel culture and Dr. Seuss. So it's like they're really just digging at the bottom of the barrel here for content things to talk about. And they're talking about a legal theory that is pretty accurate and was taught in colleges and going back 20, 30 years ago. But now it's starting to come into instances in America today where people are learning more about redlining and other institutional measures that kept people of color like down and harder for them to build generational wealth and success in this country. I think that was a really excellent case. And the best thing I'll say about that general there is that he stood toe to toe with white fragility and actually was on the good side of it, because all of these are just things that are used to stoke the fears of an honestly aging sort of like European like center in America society. And what that is doing right now is, well, what that general did is combating that measure and saying, hey, it's part of America to learn about things. It's part of intellectual curiosity to learn about things. So let's just approach it from that perspective as opposed to taking it as a threat.
Yeah, and you were referencing things like redlining. He referenced in the video, if you could follow it. Some of these instances of indisputable racism in the law, but that's inconvenient for simple-minded, fragile white people like Matt Gaetz to engage with. And he is there to protect people who are even more fragile, who voted for him. So he can like make a little face about it, but it's true. Dan also referenced the case of Vanessa Guillen, which we did talk about actually several times. But yes, yeah, it's there and it's real. And to really briefly sum up the video for those of you who might not have been able to follow it, he was saying we need to understand our history. Okay, it's the same argument that most non-generals have been making that aren't insane, which is we need to know this stuff. So he said he reads things like, he said he reads Karl Marx, he reads Mao, he reads, I think he said Ayn Rand. Did he say Ayn Rand? There might have been a reference to Rowling in there. I don't know, but he reads widely so that he understands the world and can then crush it as part of the American empire. That's what you need to do. And Matt Gaetz, of course, doesn't stand for any sort of historical understanding. He stands for protecting the feelings of racists and also trying to flood the zone with absolute nonsense so that he never has to put forward a single idea that would help relieve even 1 ounce of the economic suffering of the American working class. I mean, that's the basic thing right there. For more political news breakdowns, interviews, stories of activism, and me trying my hardest to care about the occasional big celebrity news story, subscribe to our YouTube channel at youtube.com/The Damage Report. And you can ring the bell wherever it is so you don't miss anything.